Hey there, welcome back. So it's a new day and I don't have any rules corrections so far from the previous videos. I do want to comment that the player aid is almost useless. It's missing very key steps that you need to do, and I think you're gonna have to make your own if you really want to have a player aid that you can step through on a turn. One of the things I wanted to go over was we were talking about strategy. Like, now that I've finished 2 phases, we're getting ready to start the third, what would I do differently? And so, for example, one of the things I would do differently is, like, here, we went with Oscar Mayer, which was an expansion. One of the things I recommend is taking something that would let you get a capital asset that will allow you to get free resources, or really cheap resources. For like 10 bucks, you get 2 resources. And if you can grab a capital asset that has 2 of the resources you need, it's going to help you to run your factories quicker. We're struggling very hard with all 4 companies. Well, actually, Cracker Jack's the only one that's not suffering from this. So 1 player out of the 4 was able to run all their factories so far. And I think that if you're going to be good at this game, you need to have run all of your factories by now. I mean, I really do. I think I'm playing very poorly with the 4 players. And so this, I think, is one of the key pieces. And you'll see that some of those resource tiles are actually discarded because nobody bought them. So it costs $40 to buy the tile and another $10 to get the resources every single round. And that's amazing compared to the situation we have where the resources are very random and you can get screwed. Now, between these 2 companies, like, which of the 2 would I pick? Well, I happen to like the idea of getting a free resource and an appeal, because when your appeal goes up, obviously it keeps you in the competition because your company gets to go first. And then on top of that, you get free stuff like employees when your appeal goes up. So there's like a double bonus. This Swift & Company is a really good, I think, company to start, assuming you can get the blue and pink resources, right? If you go up here, these black resources have been pesky, but like I said, if you would have gotten the coal company here, you would have been fine. And, you know, otherwise, comparing the 2, really there's no difference other than this one seems to generate resources, whereas this one generates more goods. So that's a 6 or 1/2. This one produces more goods, but it's less money. And then this produces more money, but less goods. You know, it's really your choice. And I think the next thing you would look at is the tile itself. So you can see there the tile has 3 on the pigs. So since it has 3 on the pigs, neither of these are really perfect to start the game. But remember, when you start the game, that 3 wouldn't be there because that 3 is like the level 2 or 3 tile. But that's an example of what I'm talking about. I might have liked these options instead of the Oscar Mayer company. And then, you know, the same goes for some of these other ones. The one industry that's interesting is the shoes. There's not a single shoe company that takes company or corporate assets. So if you need all these resources, you got to do it the old-fashioned way. Now, obviously, this factory generates resources. So I'm sort of a fan of this one more than that one. And you'll notice that the $20 is cheaper. And I think what you're going to find is that the lower income ones are actually going to be really great to start the game with. And I think it's because even though you're making less money, you do make more quantity, which will counterbalance some of that. But I think that this is more helpful than that, for example. This automation is nice because you will eventually be able to automate everything. But once you've automated everything, it's useless. And then look, there's automation twice on there. So, but this one has a crap ton of automation. I mean, you actually need those in order to be able to finish it. But I'm not going to spend too much longer analyzing. I just wanted to let you know that I think I would have made a lot of different choices. And so let's go ahead and get started with round 3. Okay. So first thing we do is the stock phase, and the yellow player here is still the one who gets to go first. He still has the little train here, and let me gonna grab all of his money here, and let's see what. All right, and I'm gonna take off my coat. It's minus 30 degrees here today, and a little chilly even on the inside, but my coat keeps hitting all the components, so I'm gonna just wear my t-shirt for now. Trust me, I'm not violating anything behind the camera here. Okay, so here we go. Let's just sort this out and see how much money we have and figure out our plan. So, all right. So this one here is 100, 75, 85, 95, 205, 210, 225, 227. Okay, so for 227, we can actually start another company. So this is why yellow is doing quite well in this game, and I would say that they might be winning, in fact. So we can start another company, which is an interesting idea, or we can try to grab up all the 20% shares of the other companies, which is also an interesting idea, because either way, you're getting a whole bunch of share value for one certificate. So what do I mean by that? I know I've explained this before, but just making sure for some folks who aren't familiar, this is one certificate, but it's worth 3 shares. And we have a limit of 14 certificates in the game. And so, so this is more valuable than having 3 certificates of 10 of 1 share each. And so that's what I mean. So if we start a company, we get one of these, which is fantastic, right? The other thing is that, for example, this company is doing great in stock value, and that's a 20% share. So again, this is still available for purchase, and it might be nice to snag that up. So as these other companies are making money, yellow is making money too. So that's another option. Now the share of this is 120 bucks, so it would be 240, and I'm not actually. I may not have 240. That's 175, 85, 95. I'm just going to move all this over so it's 200, so I don't count it again. 10, 20, 27. I don't even have enough to buy the 20% shares for either of the companies. So you can see DBH is that I do have enough for the 20% share of NFK though. So I could do that, but that would be all my money, or I can just start another company. Now, here's what's interesting. If I start another company, I'm going to start competing now with others in certain arenas. I'm not sure that that's an awful thing. It's just more of a matter of, is that really what I want to do? But I do see here this thing, okay? And let me grab the right company tile. This is an expansion pack one. So if you're playing the base game, this won't be in your game. But this mail order catalog says it gives you 40 bucks. So that's what that is that's $40 of just cash, like revenue, okay? So the mail catalog capital assets are worth $40 more to this company. So you produce one good for every worker you employ. Company cannot automate. If both managers are employed, the company sells goods for $50 each and gains 1 appeal every time it operates. That's just explaining the factory stuff here. That's pretty normal thing. But what it's saying is that the mail catalog assets, you get $40 more. So this is a $40 asset, which just means that basically they run a side business and they make $40 from doing that. And that's in addition to any goods you sell. So American Flyer is just, you know, they got a good catalog business going. This is true for any company that buys this, right? They all have mail order catalogs. Well, the American Flyer one, this will now be worth $80 instead of $40. So these are extra special for American Flyer. Okay, so I think this would be an Amazeballs company to start for that reason, because that tile is out. Now, here's my dilemma with the yellow player. If you may have caught it, you can't automate anything. And this company can't automate anything. So we have to hire like all these employees, and guess who else has to hire all these employees? So I'm basically going to be operating two companies that are competing with each other for employees when there's only a few employees out there and they're all at a premium price. If I started it, I would start it at $60 a share to give it some extra money. So that part would be fine. The other thing I can do is just buy more shares of my own company so I can make more money off of the company I have. I really like American Flyer as an option. I don't like the idea of having two companies that are so employee heavy when there's hardly any opportunity to get employees out there. So that's my hesitation. And gosh darn it, I don't want to sit here and analysis paralysis, but I know that's what I'm doing right now. I can always just start a different company. I don't have to start this one. I mean, I'm in the pig industry. I could buy another pig one and compete with myself. And then I can pick and choose which industry actually sells. I mean, there's a lot of options here. It would probably be best to go into a different industry so I'm competing with someone else. Or do I just buy the shares and make the monies? I'm going to buy some shares. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay $200. That's what all of this is. And I'm just going to go off camera and put these in the bank. And I'm going to grab $200. And I'm buying the F&K. That was a Freudian slip. The NKF. I'm going to buy the 20% share. And I know that's not as good as a 30% share. And you could argue, hey, you really should have started another company here. I think you might be right. And I'm going to second guess this the whole game. But remember, this is my first time playing, and I sort of want to try this strategy of absorbing up all the preferred shares just to see how it plays out for me. So this is his personal money and his share. He will not have enough money to do anything else the rest of this stock round. But he did grab another 20% share, which is, it's pretty good. So, you know, was it the smartest strategy? I don't know. We'll play it out and we'll see, right? That's all we can do. Okay, so now we go to the blue player here. And the blue player has $130. And what he's been doing is he's been buying up his own company, right? So he has 50%. He can only buy one more. And then his company would have 20% left. That's all he can do is buy one more. And it's $60 a share. He can't even afford to buy a preferred share of another company. And at $130, we could start another company for dirt cheap. It's an interesting option. But I think what we're going to do is so this guy's going to just invest in his own company, and we're going to see how well that turns out. And bear with me a second. And one more second. Sorry about this. The camera just looks blurry from my end. I'm just going to buy one more share for $60. And we're going to try, this is the old 18xx strategy of investing in yourself, maximizing how many shares of your own company you own. So I'm up to my full 60%. This is the maximum amount I can own of my own company. And so we're basically going to, try to be successful on our own routes. This is a decent 18xx strategy. Let's see how well it works with this game. Now remember, this company started on the cheap. It's right now worth less than all the other companies, but I still think it's on the verge of coming out. And I almost forgot to grab the $40 for my player here. So now the player is, after doing that, we are sitting on $25, $50, $70, which is not enough to buy any more shares because we can't buy any more of our own shares, and all the share prices are $100 or more for everybody else, okay? Now, if you wanted to pay out the dividends, this is an action. Basically, you pay out dividends as if you just made $100. So if your shares are worth less than 100, it'll actually bump up 2 or 3 times, depending on where you're at. And no, yeah, never 3 times, I guess. But if your shares are worth more than $100, you don't bump at all. So I think this action here is good for when you start a new company on the cheap, and you want to shoot it up the stock market quickly. You would want to do this to get it up to the 100 really fast, and then you can slow down. Okay. All right. So blue is going to be out. There's nothing else they can do in this round. So let's go to red here. Remember, red was trying to start another company. So let's see what they have. They have $100 right here. They have 25 and change. So they don't have as much money as yellow does. They do own their own shares. I think we should, I mean, at $120, we can start another company at $40 a share. This particular player, we said that the strategy is to go premium. So she went with the boots, you know, because that's a premium type of thing. She started everything at $50 a share. So technically we would want to start at $60 a share, but she does not have enough money to do that. So then the question becomes, can she, you know, she can buy more shares of her own stock. It's $120 a share, so it's very pricey. I'm looking to see, yellow still has a 20%, but you would need 240. She doesn't have that. 120 some dollars. Yeah, all I can do is start a company at $40 a share. I think I'm going to do it. And my logic here is I want somebody to start another company. Even though I'm like, my internal radar is saying, I don't know if it's a good move. All right, so we're in the boots. What industry do we want to get in? We're going to do that American Flyer for sure. So we're going to get the American Flyer out. I'm going to set it down over here. Let's move the camera so you can see it. I know it's at an angle. My apologies. Actually, I was able to get a pretty good angle there. All right, so there's no automation. There's really actually nothing to put on. This little guy here is only for the very first company you owned. You don't use him for any future company. If for whatever reason you lose a company because somebody else, you know, owns more shares than you, or you sell your shares and basically dump your company, and you did not unlock this guy on your first company, then it would move to this place. But that's not the case here. We're going to do the American Flyer at 120 bucks. So $120 right here. So that's company money. And I'm going to grab the American Flyer stocks. So there's the 20%. The 30% will go to the owner. And yeah, it's going to sell for 40 bucks. And of course, we're going to try to grab that capital asset. Now, this is an interesting game because somebody could just try to be a jerk and buy that capital asset before you get to go on your turn. That's an interesting strategy. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. And you're allowed to buy a capital asset just to throw it away. So this American Flyer company, I think in a real multiplayer game is very risky because if people know, they're going to swoop in and grab that just to prevent you from getting it. Anyways, we're going to give it a go, see how it plays. And this is another expansion pack one. So this player is for sure done. They're not going to be able to buy any more shares. So now let's go to the last player, and that's green. Green situation is they have 40% of their own company and then a 10% of DBH, which is interesting. And let's see how much money they have. When we play the game, I just throw all the money in a pile and I never sort it. Okay, so we got 50, We're going to easily have 100, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 150 bucks. So we could start a company for 150. They are in the sewing machine business, which the American Flyer also just got into, sewing machine business. What do we got? The 20% share needs 240 bucks. We can't buy that. The yellow, yeah, you need 240 to buy the 20% share. So green could start a company or can just buy more of their own company. I think green is going to buy, holy cow, their company has $300 right now because somebody bought the 20% share, that's why. So their own company does have a lot of money right now. I think we should start another company. What do you think, folks? We will do that. And which company will we buy? So let's look out here. I mean, from a demand perspective, the grain looks like there's a lot of demand. The sewing machines already has 2 companies, so we're looking at grain, pigs, or shoes. I'm worried about shoes. I think I want to take advantage of these capital assets. So we're going to try to get pig or grain and with capital assets. That's what I'm hoping for. We have refrigeration here, so we can get 2 pinks, or we can get a blue and a brown. See, so I'm looking at those as ways to help my company. So let's do that. So here you can see blue and pink. That's not quite perfect. And if we come over here, it's blue and pink, black and brown. So it isn't perfect. So maybe there's something else that this is more perfect for. So blue and brown. Is there any company that uses blue and brown? This one does. Brunswick Bulk Calendar. But the problem is it's another sewing machine company, and we already have one company, so we'd be competing with ourselves. So the next step is I think the 2 pinks is the way to go. And so you've got blue and pink there, but it's more blue than pink. So we're going to start this Libby, McNeil, and Libby. Because there's a lot of pink here. I think that's a good fit. And yes, we will generate our own resources. And I got to find room now for this company. You need a lot of table space. So here's the thing. I can move that up. I can move that further back. This money can go on the player aid because the player aid is pretty useless. So we can squeeze a second company in right there. Okay, we have 150 bucks. We're going to start it at 50. So first things first. American Flyer, I think, is that one. So that was started at 40, I believe. Yes. And it starts at 3 appeals. So it's actually higher than other companies. And this one is called Libby, McNeil, and Libby. It's yellowish. Oh, there we go. It's just called Libby. And that's starting at $50. So let's get that on. And that is starting with only 1 appeal. So way in the bottom, but it's still going to start. Libby is going to go on top of those other 2 companies. So it's actually going to get to go first, even though it has low appeal, because those other companies haven't moved up yet. And it's literally everything he had. So all this money is just going to go into Libby, McNeil, and Libby. And everybody basically blew their load in 1 round. So the marker is going to stay there, and everybody passes now. So now remember, you could always sell a share. And for example, green can choose to sell this share for $120. And actually, that was an option for even starting Libby, McNeil, and Libby. And in doing so, he could have given himself an extra 120 bucks, and then he could have started the company at $60 a share. It is an interesting option, and this is probably the only player that I think would have done it, because this belongs to another player. It's a crappy 10% share, So you would dump this to make the, it actually causes the share price to go down, so it hurts the other player. The only reason why you wouldn't do this is because we actually have an end game objective of whoever owns the most of these gets $200. So, and right now this is making him money, so he's going to hold on to it. But I think most of you who are watching have played 18xx games, or you're a decent strategist. You can definitely see the value behind that, and that's an option path that might have paid off. And I don't know which one would be better. I think they both have their advantages. So, okay. So we ended the stock phase, and now we move to the building phase. And one thing I want to point out is, for example, everybody's going to get 2 of these, and it's going to unlock another option. And this one is to get $60 for your company instead of the $40 one up here. All right, so we're going to give 2 to everybody. I'm just doing that off camera here. And okay, and now we have to put the buildings out. So I'm just going to set this up right here, and we're going to start top to bottom. So we'll go red player first, and let's see what we got. The red player has this situation. The 3 is really nice. We got the 2 resources, which the red player actually needs these 2 resources. And so the red player is for sure playing these because he's tired of, he didn't have enough resources last time to run his factory, and that's going to really help him. So we're going to do that. Which one do we discard? We're going to discard this one, although it is sort of nice to just trade 1 for 1. If this was, you could do it unlimited amount of times, I think this would be more valuable, but just a one-time thing, I'm not so excited about that. And then the other one, of course, is the 3 appeal, which I keep thinking is valuable, but so far we've never taken it. But I think as competition goes on, that may become a valuable spot. So we're going to go ahead and discard the one that just lets you trade 1 for 1 and keep the 3 appeal. Okay, moving to yellow. Yellow has this situation, and the automation is actually really good, having a double automation. This one lets you hire 2 employees for $50. Yellow is aware that there's 2 companies that need this, so Yellow's going to place this. And they think this is going to pay off for them, and I tend to agree. And then of these 2, we're going to... Okay, give me a second. What does the equal sign mean? This other one was not equal. Give me a second. Let me look up what that equal sign means. Okay. All right, I described these wrong. My apologies. This one is you get to take 2 resources from Haymarket Square that are not equal to each other. So you do get 2 resources for this. It's not an exchange. This one is you can take 2 resources from Haymarket Square that are equal to each other. So my apologies. I explained this wrong in the last video and again today, but that's what these 2 do, and that actually makes them more valuable to me. I actually like them a lot now. But I'm going to go ahead and still discard this and just stick with my decision. So now here's what my choices are. Do I keep the automation? Or the being able to automate twice is pretty nice. But this now has some value. But I'm going to do the automation and keep that and discard this. And now we move to green. All right, we got an automation, we have a 2-star, and then we have, you can buy a capital asset for minus $20. Green knows that he needs a capital asset. Capital assets, though, are unlimited actions. So the only value in this is you get to do it for $20 cheaper. But then that $20 goes to the green player, and some people may not go there just to spite them, right? So that's where this starts to get interesting. there is only one automation space on the board, so green is going to go ahead and put an automation out. And we're going to get rid of the 2-star because there's already one on the board. Actually, we might get rid of the automation one, or I'm sorry, the capital asset one for $20 less. Green actually needs to get a capital asset this turn, but green also needs automation. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of the capital asset one. I just don't see that one being valuable. And 1, 2, 3. I just realized I forgot to put the automation markers on Green's new company. So there's 4 of them coming on. This is the Libby, McNeil, and Libby. They have 4 automation markers that need to go on the sheet. Okay, last but not least is blue. What did I do? Oh, crap. This one was blue. Oh, how did I make that kind of mistake? Jiminy Christmas. All right, so this is what yellow has. This one by far is awesome. So we're going to put that in. We're going to discard the single one. And yeah, because there's one already out there and it's cheaper. So we're going to go ahead and discard that one, and we're going to keep the resources because we're learning that resources are actually not so bad of a thing. Okay, so we're done putting out our buildings. That would actually go quicker in a multiplayer game because it would be simultaneous, and you would hope that people would be less AP than I am going through 4 players. And then now we do the turn order, starting with green. Let's place our actions. So let's look at green's situation. We have 2 companies. We do need resources. This company needs employees or automation, one of the 2. Speaking of which, 1, 2, 3 employees come out. So we put our 3 employees out. Okay, green needs a lot of stuff because they started a new company. They want a capital asset for sure, and they want employees or automation or both. So that one that had the 2 automation would actually have been really nice for them. They need managers. I mean, they need everything. So we got to prioritize. We got to make sure that they can get the resources they need. So one thing I know for sure, they need this. So that's the first thing that's on their list. The second thing on their list is they need employees. So this one is quite handy. And then they need to automate, or they need to think about their other company who needs black. Remember, black's been a problem child. And unfortunately, there's still nowhere out there to get black other than from the resource market. So they may not be able to help their other company very much. And then, of course, they can keep grabbing managers, sales managers to support, all kinds of things. I think those are all lower priority than getting the employees. I also think that they would rather get the employees first and then automate second. So that way, when they automate, the employees push to the other factory, and eventually they can have both factories full. They do have, okay, one other question you might be wondering, if you automate this employee, he can't go here, can you just move him to your other company? And the answer is no. They would go back into the unemployment line. Just because you own both companies, you don't share employees or anything like that between them. I think a strong argument can be made that we need the 2 employees more than we need the 2 pink. Because nobody's really going to be able to use this except for him. So we can survive, until the next round in that regard. So yeah, we're going to grab our little worker here. And, oh, he needs blue and pink. He really does need blue and pink. Interesting. Also needs the employees though. So we're gonna go here and pay 50 bucks. That 50 bucks is gonna go to the green or the blue player. So 10, 20, 40, 50 from the company, Libby McNeil and Libby, to the blue player. I'm doing that off camera here. And we're gonna grab 2 employees, and those will not come from here. They come from the supply. And I'm trying to do all this with one hand, but it goes here and here. Now, be mindful that we need blue and pink, and there's a blue and pink up there. So that was my other thing I was contemplating. But I think the employees were the top priority, especially since somebody started an American Flyer and they need employees, so that hurts them, and that's gonna make them have to pay more money. Okay, so now we move to Red, and Red is the company with American, or the person with American Flyer. So they need employees bad. They need resources bad. They need everything. But they know that they can get dicked with this. So that is their priority, and I'm gonna play this like a real multiplayer game where you need to be concerned about other players just trying to ruin your day. So they're gonna go here, and they're gonna grab this for 60 bucks. And it's gonna go on, and what's interesting is it's gonna make that money, it makes that money if you produce. So 60 bucks, let me grab. Now what's interesting is they're gonna have a hard time hiring employees, but as long as they hire 1, they're gonna be good. And they do need resources as well. So this company, they might be struggling a little bit here. But 60 bucks to start. They need a black and 2 blues in order to run. And it's looking like that's $30, $50, $60, $70. That's more money than they have right now. So Red's probably gonna have to do one of those actions to give the company more money. Very interesting how this is playing out. Okay, next is Blue. All right, so what does Blue need? Blue, of course, needs resources as well, but they actually need the blue and the brown. And of course, automation as well. And forgive me, I keep bumping this one with the camera, so everything moves around. So they need blue and brown. And so they for sure are going to take this one. So $20 actually goes to themselves, so that's even greater. So they're just gonna pay themselves 20 bucks from the company, and they're gonna get a blue and a brown, and it comes from here. And you can see that they already have almost all the resources they need. So their company's in pole position there. Okay, now we're gonna move to Yellow. Yellow needs a lot of pink and blue. And unfortunately, so does the other player, and Yellow knows this. So Yellow is gonna go here, and $20 is gonna go to the Red player. So from the Yellow company, of course. So let me grab $20 and give it to the Red player. And remember, you always just check here, and that's where the symbol is. And they get a pink and a blue, and this helps Yellow immensely. So you can see here we got a pink and a blue, and then there's 2 more pinks he's been storing up. He actually has enough to run the entire factory, which is exactly his plan. This helps him amazing. This actually helps him too, but this was more important. And then he's still gonna pay the $10 for 2 pink, because why not? You just get to hold on to it in case there's a rainy day later. All right, so now we move back to Green. Green, of course, is disappointed in that. However, not super disappointed, because Green knows that it needs 2 pink cubes. So it's gonna buy this one for $70, and that just goes to the bank from the company. And the company is actually very low in money. So we do have to worry about how are they gonna get their resources for Green. So just throwing this money in the bank. And that, by the way, see the little 2 there? They get 2 appeal right away. So the appeal goes up by 2 for Libby 1, 2. and they get a free employee, which they are going to take. And so that's done. They're not going to be able to automate this round, but that's okay. They'll at least be able to run one factory, we hope. I think we need to give them some resources, which means we'll probably have to give them more money to buy resources, but green has one more worker still. Okay, now we go to red. One thing to bear in mind is this is a $60 spot that you can go to once. This is a $40 spot you can go to infinitely. So only one player is going to be able to get 60 bucks for their company. And red knows that, so red is going to do that right now. And so red's going to take the $60 for their company because they know their company needs an infusion of money in order to get resources. So the American Flyer company is going to get the $60 so they can buy the resources they need to run. And they still need employees. That's the other problem, right? So they need employees, they need resources, they need all kinds of stuff. Oh, I forgot. When we bought this, see that little employee? They actually have an employee that they got for free. So we can do that right now. And if we can get their appeal to go up, which there's some options here to do that, we can actually get another employee that way without having to buy it from the market. So that might actually be worth considering. They're only one appeal away from getting there. So it's an interesting idea. Okay, so, oh, I forgot. When these were being purchased, this would have shifted to the right. And the green player actually would have been able to buy the 2 pink cubes here. That would have shifted to the right. So I'm going to give $10 back to their company. I paid $10 more than I needed to. And, okay. So that was red, and now we go to blue. Blue still needs a black resource, but they have plenty of money to buy one. And so now blue just needs to make their company better. So we can get some managers so we can start making more money, or we can get this manager that gives us another appeal. I think I'm more interested in the money right now, but I have to be careful because this is $60, which is fantastic, but then I may not have enough money to buy resources. That's not the manager I need, though. I need these two for $80. That goes to the yellow player. Or I can buy the cheaper ones. Let's think about this. At $80, I would have $50 left, and I need to buy one resource. I possibly could, because there are some black resources there at 20 bucks. But that's the risk I'm taking, is I need to be able to buy one resource. You know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend the $80, and it's going to go to the yellow player, which is a huge amount of money for the yellow player. So we get to, I believe those are the sales managers. Now the benefit that's going to give the red player is instead of selling $30, we are now selling for $50. So that's a huge amount of profit that the company is going to get. We just got to get through this round. Okay, so now we get to yellow. Yellow has all their resource cubes. They need employees and the sales managers, which actually we sort of screwed yellow a bit there by taking that spot. But yellow could still go here for a sales manager or there. And then, of course, they need employees as well to be able to run, and they would need 4 of them. So let's make sure the company has enough money to buy all this stuff. Let's find out. So if they wanted to buy 4 employees, which they do, it would be 30, 60, 100, 140. Or they can increase their appeal by 2, and they'll just get 1 employee. That's not enough. So they would need 140. This is what the company has. 25, 35, and then I can make change for 40, and I still have enough to buy the 2 pink cubes. I'm gonna, interesting. Then what would I do with my next action? Because if I spend 140, I won't have enough to even buy a manager at 20 bucks. I could choose not to buy a manager and instead get some fame for $30 instead of 40 and save 10 bucks. I mean, I could do that, or I could just give the company 40 bucks and spend my last action that way. Ooh. There's some good choices in this game, folks. I can definitely understand some people going into AP over some of this. I'm going to buy the employees. We need the employees, and we can't automate them. So I'm going to spend 125, 35, yeah, and then get $5 back and change. And this is why I think you should be buying your own shares, because when you buy your own shares, your company has enough money to do everything it needs to do. All right, so $5 goes back, and we just hired 1, 2, 3, 4 employees, which is going to help. And I'm trying to do this with one hand. So 1, 2, and this will unlock another worker, which helps. And we can always spend other turns getting these. Okay, so that meant I went to, where did I go to do that? Oh, I went to the employee marker spot. Okay, so now we're back to green. This is green's final action. And I think we said we need to be able to get the blue cubes. He has 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks, which may not be enough to get the blue cubes. So green is gonna go here to give his company 40 bucks. Because he definitely wants his company to be able to run. This is for Libby, McNeil, and Libby. NK Fairbank, I think, has enough money to do what it needs to do. Never mind. The other option was to do automation, which, as you can see, would cost 40 bucks. And he can even pay himself that money. That was an attractive feature, but if I would have taken away the 40 bucks I just gave him and spent that 40 bucks, I could have afforded it, but then I would have had no money to buy any resources. So that's the reason why green had to do that. And now red, they very much want to unlock their extra worker. And so Doggett, Bassett, and Hills has over $100 and some. We're probably going to spend most of that getting these resources. So we don't want to buy any automation for them. We already gave American Flyer a surge of money, but they need 3 resources. American Flyer could use some more employees. So if they raise their appeal by 2, for example, they could, definitely get that. The other thing that they can do is they can go here and actually get the first player, move up to first player, and their appeal would go up by 1. They only need it to go up by 1 in order to be able to get another employee. And then the amount of goods they produce is based on the number of employees. So if you had 2 employees, they would get $80 instead of $40, okay? But the big money here is in the mail order catalog. So as long as we have 1 employee, the mail order catalog is where the big money is going to come from. So I'm not worried about that as much. The other thing is you got this little option here. If we put 2 of these on the American Flyer, you get an appeal plus another 50 bucks. That is huge. But the problem is I would be spending all $60 that I just spent last turn giving to the company. So this was a long-winded way of saying I'm in a pickle and my companies need more money. Now, what I can do is this, which lets me produce an extra good. If I produce an extra good, it's only $20. And then I can at least get some extra revenue for my company or for my shareholders or whatever. Doggett, Bassett, and Hills needs a lot of resources. So I'm going to settle my turn by going here and getting $40 for Doggett, Bassett, and Hills. They have to buy a crap ton of resources, and they don't have any of it right now. So we're going to do that, and let's see if we can unlock our extra worker. All right, so now we go to blue, and remember, blue's the only one that has an extra worker unlocked, so they're going to actually get to go twice, but not yet. Yellow will go first, and then blue goes again. Blue is sitting in primo position. We know that we have to buy a black. We have $50 here to do that. Blue would love to get this sales manager, but we got to be careful. But we are going to do it, and the reason we're going to do it is because we can just come here for $20, and that goes to the green player. And I'm just going to pay it from the company to the green player. Ooh, they have no money. We got to go to the bank and get some change. And we're going to get one of these light brown managers. I think they're like just regular managers instead of sales managers. And now Cracker Jack is basically fully pimped out. The only thing that Cracker Jack still hasn't done is automated all of its production. That's the only thing left, and then it would be fully pimped out once we unlock these 3 automations. So Cracker Jack's doing great. It's the cheapest company, you know, blah, 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 but it is doing great. And what was I just going to say? We have one more worker, and he is going last, but I'm going to just do it now while I'm thinking about it. All we're doing is just grabbing $40 for Cracker Jack. So I'm going to just do that. It's out of turn order, so please don't get upset. But it's an infinite space he just went to, and we're just doing it for efficiency, so I don't move on to the next player and then forget what I was going to do with Cracker Jack and have to remember it again. So Cracker Jack, we spent $20 and gave them 40, so they actually have more money now than they did. Okay, so now we're going to go to yellow and their final action. We got all the employees. We have all the resources. We need $10 to buy these 2 pink, which we're going to do. We only have $7 left. So I can't buy any more managers. I mean, there's a manager here for just $20. That would be nice, but it's too much. I don't have that kind of money with my company. And so, excuse me, I have to, I got to just give them some money this way. So we're going to go $40 to the company. And what's funny is at the beginning of the game, when I saw that action where you're going to give your company money, I thought that was a silly action. But it's turning out to not be silly. I still think that if you would aggressively just buy your own shares like the blue player did, if you'll notice, Cracker Jack's been doing just fine. We did give him $40, but that was only because we really are getting aggressive with pimping it out. But anyways, again, strategy and choices. There's a lot in this game, and I like it. Okay, so we're moving on to the next phase, which is operation. So if you look over here, you're going to see it's going to be NFK, then Libby, then CJ, then AF, then DBH, and then OM, Oscar Mayer last. So those companies that aren't moving up the appeal track are falling behind in terms of being able to go, but I think everybody should be okay, and it's when the depression hits, I think it's really going to be a problem. So NFK, this is the first company to run. They do have 1 black resource that was generated from the last round, so their situation is they need 1, 2, 3 black and a pink. So let's do some shopping. So if we look at the board here, here's 2 black, a pink, and another black here. So that's $30, $50, $70, $90. And the company has $100 easy. So we're going to buy all the resources they need. And green is definitely going to be able to unlock their personal assistant, and they're going to get another worker. So we're going to grab all those, put them down here, and you can see pink, black, black, and black. Then the assistant's going to go get unlocked there. And we're going to generate 2 resources. So I'm going to take 2 of the black and just keep it there. And then these 3 will go to the market like this, and nothing, I'm sorry, that they went into the market there. Those all remain because none of them are empty. And let's produce. So we're going to produce 3 goods. Okay, so 3 goods are getting produced plus 2 appeal. And this is the sewing machine. And they're going to make $50 each. So 3 goods, $50 each, sewing machine. So let's do the 2 appeal first. So it's going to go up 1, 2. You can see here you get a manager, one of the dark managers. And that happens after you produce, okay? So we're selling for $50. And this manager doesn't, like, you don't resolve this part up here until after. So we're not going to get $60 this round, but we will next round. And we did get one for free, and being able to fill that out all the way was pretty awesome. So, okay, so let's go back and get our 3 goods for the sewing machine. And it was perfect because we filled out a tile. 3 goods at $50 each is $150 plus 50 more. That's $200, $20 a share for NK Fairbanks. So the green player owns 4 shares, so that's $80. So let's do that. $80 to the green player. And then the company itself owns 40%, so $80 to the company. All right, and then I think yellow has a 20%, so they're gonna get $40. Yellow is making some serious money this round. I still think yellow might be winning this game. Okay. So payouts are done. I'm just checking, making sure nobody else owns any shares. They don't. All right, so that's NKF, and oh, we got to move up the stock. So he made $200 a share, or $200. The share price is at 100, so he does do a double bump. So he moves up to 140. Okay. Next is Libby, which is also the green player. So the green player is like going first all across the board. Libby is able to generate 2 pink cubes. It doesn't even cost anything. So we're gonna get 2 pink cubes, and it always comes from here. And we're gonna go ahead and just put them to the right there. And we need a blue and two blue and a pink. So if we do that, this is 30, 60, $80. Let's see if we have $80. 10, 20, 30, 40, 25, 35, 45, 50, 60, 70. Oh my gosh, they have $80 exactly. That's every dollar to their name. Otherwise, we were only going to be able to run 1 factory. But we spent every dollar the company has to be able to do this. So let me just put all this in the bank. All right, so we're gonna take those 3 resources, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put them over here because, you know, cut out the middleman, right? Now that we've proven that we got all the resources, just cut out the middleman and move it there. You don't even need to put it on your player board. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And we didn't have any managers, so we're not gonna generate anything extra. We're not getting anything more than $20, but we just made 3 6 grain, okay, at $20 each. So that's our situation. And oh, I just realized we can't run that second factory. So let's back it up a little bit. My apologies. I'm gonna go ahead and keep the resources for next round. So we'll just keep the resources there, but I can't run this second factory because I don't have enough employees. Does that make sense? So we're only gonna run this side for 3 times $20. So we're gonna get $60, and then maybe we'll fill something out, but I don't think we will. 1, 2, 3. Actually going first hurt us in this situation, but the company makes $60, and the share price is only $50. So it is gonna go up in share price, And at 60 bucks, that's $6 a share. The only person who owns the company is Green, which, by the way, I forgot to even take their shares. So, grabbing their shares now. Okay, so Green has 3 shares, so they're going to get 6 times 3 is 18 bucks. 10, 15, 16, 17. So 18 bucks. And then the company has 7 shares. So that's 42 bucks for the company. 25, 35, 42. And the reason I kept those 3 cubes is because the company's definitely going to need them, and that'll help them in the next round. And they got 42 bucks to help them in the next round as well. They're probably going to need some help from Green, but Green finally unlocked their extra employee, and so Green's fine. And Libby McNeil and Libby is going to be fine as well. We did move up their stock already. I'm just moving back the workers while I'm chatting. And yeah, Green has successfully unlocked their extra worker, which is good for them. I think everybody's going to get their worker unlocked this round. I'm pretty sure. So we're going to find out. Okay, next after Libby is Crackerjack. You can see Crackerjack's underneath Libby there. So this is their situation. They need to buy 1 black cube. But before we do that, this stuff shifts down. And the phase marker shows us that we're drawing 4. Okay, so what we do next now is we need a black. And you can tell there's no black at all. So what we're gonna do, let me move the camera closer so you can see. These are both brown. I don't know if the camera is letting you see that. We're gonna spend 30 bucks to get 2 brown and exchange it for a black. So that's what we're gonna do. And let me just make sure I spend the 30 bucks before I forget. 25, 30. And then we're going to use all 3 resources. So they are going to go back into the pool. And these are going to shift down at the end of the turn. So let's do that now before I forget. Okay. All right. So what did we produce? Well, first thing we did is we got 2 fame. So I'm going to go ahead and move up twice on the track, and it unlocks a manager, which we don't need. So we're going to take 25 bucks instead. That goes to the company. The goods themselves, we produce 2, 3, 4, 5 goods. And they are of the green variety. So let's grab 5. And also, they're going to sell for $50 each, so that's 250 bucks. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At $50 each, that's 250 bucks, and then we get this $50, so that's 300 bucks. That's $30 a share, and we have 50% ownership. The blue player does, so $30 a share. Times 5. Is 150 bucks. So that's pretty good for the blue player. The company itself has 2 shares. So at $30 a share, the company gets 60 bucks, which helps the company. And then who has the other one? 20% is owned by the yellow player. So they get 60 bucks. So giving 60 bucks to the yellow player, who just keeps getting richer. All right, I'm at an hour, and I'm gonna stop and then just resume in a few minutes here. I also need to take a bio break. but after CJ is AF. Now, one thing that you might be wondering if you're not used to 18xx games is when you go, you can flip it over to show that they took their turn, because CJ ended up moving up, and you may get fooled into thinking it's Libby's turn, but Libby already took their turn before CJ. So you could look at it this way and then know exactly who the next player is. It's just the game is designed and the stickers were purposely done that way for that purpose. The rule book doesn't say it, but that's the thing. If you've played 18xx games, you know about this technique. I usually mentally keep track, but because I'm taking a break and I'm coming back, I don't want to forget. So I'm doing this to remind myself. So thank you all so much, and as always, stay awesome.